Good morning, Sana.
Good morning, Jose.
Today we have we hear Sana Naimanghanova. I'm not sure if it's the right pronunciation,
Good.
but
It's a good.
she's from Kazakhstan and also from Siberia, I think. No,
Yes.
you have both origins. She studied design engineering and worked for several fashion companies, and also had some studies in fashion manufacturing and worked for a fashion and apparel manufacturing companies. And also she had her own fashion brand, Chaika. You are selling online, right?
It was online on Amazon and Shopify and also website.
And recently, like 2 years ago, she started her own startup. So now technology is also one of her focus. This is it's called SenStyle, and you are introducing a revolution in the fashion manufacturing business, right?
Thank you. Yeah, we are doing something very complex and unique probably for the industry. We work with textile digitization, which is very deep tech technology with a lot of different sites, from hardware to AI to application itself.
So deep tech technology. I'm not sure you can tell us everything because I know you are applying for several patents, but how far can we go in the technology field on what you can tell us, Sarah?
I will try to explain a little bit more, like to give the core of the technology, but we'll go very general because yes, it's we're applying for world patent in several different countries because it's quite innovative solution. So the patent is for the method and for the device itself. The most important part in the core, it's a method itself. It's a method of digitizing textiles. Because the way we are trying to digitize textiles is from the perspective to help the fashion industry to cut the waste, to optimize, to work efficiently, and to increase the quality in the production and on the textile side. Because currently this is a very subjective topic, the quality of textiles, what type of textiles has to be used for which type of design. So we are trying to objectify these parts. So the people from production and also people from e-commerce and marketing have a tool to analyze what's going on and how textiles really influence the choice of consumers, how much waste is happening on the site of production, because there are many times when you could join several textiles together because it's a leftovers, but you don't do that just because you don't know what are those textiles. Because today in the digital world that everybody's talking about, on the textile side, there's only like general information, which is a composition and supplier and some costs and the delivery times. But that there are no exactly there is no data that will help you to understand what is actually by physical properties this textile is. And absence of this data is like you cannot analyze anything in general. So every time, even your designers or people who work with you, different producers, they don't know what type of quality is acceptable for you, what is not, what is successful, what is not successful, because the truth is the fashion is made of materials and people don't think that, but textile really influence a lot how the final garment looks and feel. And if you, for example, many people are not aware, but the first thing when they come to the shop, they start touching the things because that's really important. And this is something unconsciously happen with people. And yeah, so basically what we do is to digitize that part of textiles through means of hardware and some AI algorithm that help us to put this in the right way.
How did you have the idea of doing this? I guess because you were working already in the field, in the industry. But do you remember how that happened? The day you took the decision of starting your own company?
The truth it was always like I have been, since I love textiles. I'm very crazy about qualities and touch of it. And I saw like in the industry how things are degrading and going worse because the cost and the lower price was always the priority. And then with online, it was getting worse and worse. But you understand that there is no instrument to reverse that. because like only hands of humans can do this, you know. And we always in the teams, when we wanted some fabric, you always deal with physical samples. You need to ship, you know, you need to go physically to the trade fairs to touch, to have a look. Otherwise it's like impossible to understand. So basically when we say to designers that we are developing these tools, they are very surprised, because something everybody wants to have. It's really nice that you can find textiles by its physical properties. For example, the whole idea is if you have some textiles similar to what you're looking, you can just find exactly like this on the internet. You just take this textile, you scan it, and then we find in the database of thousands and thousands similar to that and quite similar. And then you can compare also. That's some function that come later on, but that's the main idea, to do with the reference and to help people to understand what is this textile. So the basically idea was that, but exactly the question that everybody asks next, but how do you do it? Is it really possible? Because it's such a subjective, and it's basically teaching computers to what for us is happening naturally, but we need to teach computers to sense textiles and to understand them, and to really to understand them as we do as humans with our senses, because for us it's automatic. If you ask the designer why he likes this fabric, he will never be able to tell you why. It's impossible to digest, not digest, to I would say dissect probably the topic and say, because of drape is nice, because surface is, no, it's all together comes, you know, when you like it, and you cannot explain why. But that's a subjective thing that we're trying to solve, an objective way with all the algorithm that we have and the way we capture textile, some parameters to work with some data is all focused on that, to objectify that. And then it was the second part that also, again, I would say the main change was to think how to solve this technically, the feasibility of idea itself, because we search for many things and there are a lot of on the image size done, but it's not that accurate, it's not that deep to the level that we need, because the textiles is not just a visual thing. Like fabrics with the same structure, with the same on the picture visual, even microscopic picture, you can take whatever you want to take. It's always would be a difference in reality. They might be completely different fabrics, you know, and that's what we have been working on last 2 years. And I can say we had some challenges and ups and downs, but I'm happy that we see now first results, and we have already our application where you actually can search for textiles. You can see in 3D the big database with all the fabrics and see how they relate to each other, which textiles are similar to each other, which textiles are farther, and it's all based on physical properties. And it's quite impressive when we show to people that we call it 3D universe, where all the digitized textiles are like, you can see them, visualize them, it's nice. And then they see and compare this with physical fabrics, and it's really matching, and it's really give this intuitive feel. And that was the second part. How do you really explain to people what is soft and what is hard and what is flexible? Because the same as with color, you say, I see a blue fabric, you know, it's a little bit light blue. You have different idea, and that's why the problem was not only on technical feasibility to digitize those properties, but also on the side of how do you bring value out of this to people that they intuitively understand that. So it's more related to the challenge on the application side. And we solved that now. I think it's quite nice. We showed in the industry to some companies, to people, the professionals and designers, and they really love it, the way we present it and the way we decided to go with. Because most of the people, when you talk about textile digitization, they probably think of parameterization, you know, like when we say what is the number of the softness, what is the number of the rigidness or flexibility or drape or some other type of properties, but that's not what we're doing. We are working with reference. We are giving you an idea that if you use for past collection this fabric and when successful, we'll find some similar fabric to it, like really with the touch and feel. And again, as I said, sometimes it's not really important to understand why it's similar, because that's not the way we think. We don't say like when we go, oh, we need the softness 5, we need, because it's something that you touch the fabric and in 5 minutes you forget what is the feeling of the fabric.
And how difficult it was for you to start this new company, Sana?
It was difficult.
Tell
difficult.
us about that. Yeah.
First, nobody believes you that you can do it. That's for sure, because that's a challenge. It's a big challenge, because that's not for the startup, especially when you have hardware. You know how it's a long journey. And if you have some innovation in terms of development, that's even worse, that people thought we will not be able to do it. They still were asking and discussing with us, but I always felt like people think that we are talking about some future, far away future and some like fantasy world. But the truth is, we have been also lucky. We had some bad luck and good luck, and that's kind of, you find a balance.
So they were kind of telling you that you were crazy when you told them you wanted to do
They
this.
say it's softer.
Softer.
But the truth is, even my partners who are now in my company, co-founders, they didn't believe in that from the beginning. Like, they would say, oh, that will cost you fortune. That will take a lot of time. The truth is, it didn't cost that fortune. It took some time, but it took time because pandemic happened, some other type of things, because we are using some new technology in one of our main sensors. Just came out as a commercial sensor in this year, I think, or maybe like half year ago into it's a new. So there are a lot of challenges with new technologies that when you do something, you need to do a lot of trials because nobody did this before. This path is not there. So we, for example, hired an external company for the engineering for our own motherboard that goes with this sensor, and that had some troubles. They should have delivered that a year. Like, we started conversation that delivery should have happened in February this year, and they're just delivering right now this motherboard. That was one of the main reasons why we should have postponed a little bit going in big pilots, because we cannot scale yet, because we need to have several pieces on our end so we can digitize faster. But now that they will already hand over finally that piece that took a long, and they have been back and forth. And then it was problem with the supply, because one of the sensor that gets adjust and put together with motherboard and needed some kind of frame, and that is produced only by 2 companies in the world. And because of the pandemic, they had a huge few of delays and things, and they said, guys, the delivery time is quite big only for this frame that is not even a piece of technology. It's a frame to attach the, and there have been different types of problems along the so basically and once people difficult, they were not right, because truth is, we saw that it's possible to. So this had a good result, was great, with the supply, we couldn't find right technology or right motor or something, it's some problem with connection, no?
So Sana, you are not because of these delays, you are not on the market yet, I guess.
No, and it will be quite a time, because there are some certification you need to get for hardware, but we start service before, because we can digitize on our side, and that's what we are looking into now. Next year, start the big pilots already, and to show the value out of this, especially because there is no time to wait. The fashion is really in very bad state and in urgency to implement many solutions and really understand what's going on. There are regulations coming in 2025 already from European Union, which will put a lot of pressure on fashion brands, and it's all related with the waste, that they need to cut the waste, they need to go to secondhand, they need to do recycling a lot, and this is impossible without data. And there are not many. This is what fashion brands are actually complaining also, in general, fashion industry is saying, okay, you will put regulations, but there are no technologies for this. And this is the truth. That's not an excuse from them, it's a truth. So I guess we need to really rush and develop, and that's one of the story that we already closed one financial round, and we are looking for another, because we know we need to go faster.
Okay, so what you are doing now is a pilot. You are exploring the technology with one, I guess, one big brand.
With several, we will get several on board.
So it's not a pilot; it's several pilots.
We will try to do it like a big one, because it's important that companies collaborate between each other. And how I mean, I think the pilot will be quite a long term, because it's a new thing, and also we are giving some tool that everybody want to use in their own way, because one of the main insights for the application that we had is not only just digitization as such, it's making a cross data analysis. When you take all the, for example, from other platforms or PLM solution, or from your sales department, you take all the data and you cross it with your designs and styles of what fabrics you have been used, with digitize those textiles, and then you can get a lot of insights. So it goes to e-commerce team, it can go for personalization, for example, it can go for marketing to tell what type to focus on and to improve quality season after season, and to production team to understand where actually a lot of waste is happening, how they can avoid it, how they can cut it.
But I can imagine that big companies like Shane or Inditex, they were already doing data analysis.
And that's the beauty, that you can take that and cross with data that has been absent even in their systems. That is amazing value. And that's actually the good side, where you are taking that this is what companies were focused on, that they already did some data analysis, but they have been missing. There is missing puzzle and no textiles in this data analysis. They're very basic, as I said, some kind of, and they put this manually, like some information on the textiles, you know, like it's interesting how they did analysis as much as they could, and we still see there is an inefficiency. They still throw quite a lot of percentage. I think only Shein reached like 6% like inventory stock that they have in 3 months. This is this is success, actually, very nice success, because in the industry is 25%, the average. It means
I'm not sure I'm understanding this part. You're saying that big companies are throwing away 20% of their production.
Yeah, something that never reaches consumer.
Okay, so it goes to the trash.
It goes, you know, there is like around 30% of textiles before going to the store, they throw, this goes like a waste for various reasons. And then 25% in average, it's an inventory that is never sold. And they have to do something with this. They didn't sell it, and they will never sell it, because fashion is the next season, next thing, next trend. They cannot keep it. And, you know, this is a huge problem. There have been a lot of headlines with Burberry burning their products, with H&M having, I think, more than 3 billion like in stock, like basically garments that they couldn't sell, and they don't know what to do with that. And that's one of the regulation that will come, that companies cannot throw this away, they cannot burn it, they have to do something with it. And better just to avoid that, no?
So 30% of the textile is not useful because it's leftovers or whatever during the production process, and then 25% of what is produced is never sold, so it doesn't reach the market. Well, it doesn't reach anybody either, so it has to be thrown away. They almost don't reuse these at all nowadays, right?
No, they try to do some to put on outlets or discount shops, but again, this is damaging the brand, because it goes cheaper, goes quite discounted, and that's no good. So it's basically just a pure waste. Everybody's producing this. It's not only natural resources, it's also people's resources, it's also time, it's also energy, and all of this consumed, and is for nothing. Additionally, for companies, it's a cost. It's expenses, you know, it's like nobody wants it. So the main thing is to avoid it before you produce it, to avoid this.
So what you are saying is that one of the main targets or objectives of your goals of your company, the startup, is to work on this material, these textiles that will be thrown away, right? That's where you're introducing more innovation there.
Yes, we are using, let's say, we're using our textile digitization, which has been missing data in the whole analysis or in production, what they're doing, to avoid, first, to make a better demand prediction, because you can understand many things, how weather is influencing, how age, region, perception of the price, quality, for which design, which textiles goes better. There's so many things that you can analyze. And then second part is to see where the waste happening on the production side and to see how can you implement different type of cases, let's say, to avoid this waste. Most of the time it's a waste when the not the right textile, the color didn't go well, or it's like leftovers, they order more or they order less and they need to group textiles. There are many things, it's like chaos. Maybe you know, it's like many stakeholders working on one collection, and then imagine there is no even one dashboard in any of the company in the world that they see all the textiles at their one like screen, what's going on, to see what is the clusters of textiles are there, what are the groups. Maybe they can avoid, maybe they need to diversify, maybe they need to improve the quality, maybe some supplier really put something bad quality and that will not be sold, and you didn't indicate that standard because they are somewhere in China and you need to send somebody there, or they are somewhere in Vietnam, you also need to have somebody there. So it's very subjective, and then your good designers or good production managers, they go away, and who's controlling that? All this knowledge is lost with every person who's leaving the company. So it's basically the type of textiles the companies are using, and if you improve this from season to season, you can adjust, you can really reduce this and get better on demand prediction. Second, you can make your production going smoothly without so many costs and problems that and waste, the most importantly. That you, without like this knowledge, if you record this knowledge, that's the main thing, this data.
Okay, I see it.
And
so,
then I will just add
yeah.
one small thing, because there are so many
Sure.
different cases. Now the application that we have, it's called Fabric Hub. It's just an example. It's not the main application that we will be selling like subscription, because the core is textile digitization. And the companies can develop inside of their own corporate system, whatever they want. But we're developing the system that everybody can use it in the way they need it. If they have an idea what they want to check, they can analyze this. So it's the first step to see where and why things are happening. And then to prevent this by having the data and saying, no, these textiles are not on the standards.
Okay, see. You talk about one round of investment recently, right? I don't know if you can tell us some figures on how much money you're raising and all that, or it's a secret.
I don't like telling this because we are looking for new rounds, but I will tell you, it's like we have closed in June the first part of this round, and now we are closing the second one because investors are super happy, because we put that they can put second part next year, but they decided to close already this year. So we have a top up this year, which is a great thing because we can go faster and hire more like developers, which are very expensive today. This human resources.
So, what type of investors have you getting? Business angels.
Those are
worldwide, or they are
Spain,
local ones? Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They are Spanish, local, and it's very nice to families. Like they got it, and that was the most beautiful thing, that when you have investors that on your side, like with both of them, we felt really good, and I was very happy that we have them and that we start like this with such a good investors. And then for the next year, we are looking for another round, a bigger one around. We need something around 10 million to really go.
10 million, wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of money, yeah. Especially because you are not making any revenues yet, right?
No, we're not making revenues, but also this technology is not a normal software. That's the truth is we have already some big companies knocking on the door and waiting when we finish this, actually the hardware part, when we will be scalable to do a lot of textile digitization, because that was main concern, that as soon as we start work with large brands, we need a fast textile digitization, which means we need to have several copies, and we do this in-house. Even though we don't sell yet, the hardware will be the last piece that we will be selling. Before it will be service, and we will continue, but we plan to start next year already getting the first revenues. So 2023 should be a very important year for us.
So the main goal of that the next round is to get to the market, right?
Yes, to commercialize the solution. because again, there is some hardware involved, which in the beginning we didn't want to involve hardware, but it's unavoidable. You have to do it due to different reasons. So, and there is a lot of certification, and we need also people to hire. So that's from where it comes.
Okay, so so people, you're talking about people several times. You said that you already are like 13 people, right? 12 people, sorry.
12. We are growing. We are almost to hire more people now.
What type of people? What type of I understand you have developers. That's one you said, but that's all you have, developers?
We have three parts. Like one part is hardware, is engineers. We have engineers. And then there is a AI part. We have AI engineers that are working purely with AI. And then we have application, the software, normal software that I'm talking, Fabrica, which has front end, back end, and there is a big architecture. So there are also the developers there. And as you see, all of these three categories is quite high salary people. So it's they demand expensive. And on top of that, to find really good ones, it costs a lot. So I would say 2022 was also about this, like trying to form a good team, trying to find the right people. Not everybody fit even in terms of culture and mentality, because working in innovation, that's the first thing we say, be prepared to like changing all the time. We're changing all the time. And many people who work on something a lot and then you take and change, they don't like it because they feel like time is wasted. We are changing very fast. We are trying to get it right. And we tell to people, be open-minded, very open-minded. Very close people is not the domain, like is not what we need. We need people who are fast, who are thinking, who are creative. On top of that, not only technical, who can solve things originally, because it's not that we give them tasks and they do it. It's that everybody think how to do it.
And I understand that most of these people, they work remote because that's the only way to hire them nowadays, right?
Yeah, they all want to work remote, but we cannot be remote company because we have hardware and we need to touch textiles to see how close we are. So now we are super happy that we have been accepted at Big Biskaya, this Technopark. They have this accelerator for quite a technological startups. We have been this week in the beginning, we just entered these offices and we are super happy with this. And thanks to support that we're receiving from Biskaya region in terms of that, it's a really great place. They have like everything for engineering, and then they have biolabs, and that's a beautiful thing. So, and we said to our team since this time that we got this a good office, we will do 1 week off, 1 week on.
Okay, so some of them can be remote for 1 week, but not like 2 weeks per month.
And maybe some of them who purely work on software part, because we have a team somewhere relocated in far away from here, which is software is fine for Fabric Hub. And again, the application is not our core. So we are fine that these people work remote and they are on their own kind of timing. And but still we planning and we do trips. We always get once per 3 weeks, full team together, like no matter who is where, we try to get together. And because it's needed in our team, it's important that these 3 blocks communicate between each other. And it was quite hard to align the team, and still we are in alignment mode, I would say. Still a lot of like everybody go to different directions. You need to put them together because AI wants one thing, software wants another one, and the hardware thinking in different, and you need to put them together. They need to collaborate, they need to understand. Yeah, that's a challenge in our company, but at the same time, super interesting.
Okay, and this is the last question, Sana. So about the future, how much revenues do you expect to make in this business in the future? I'm sure you have put this in an Excel table many times. I don't know if you can tell us the figures, but just to understand, as a willing to be investor, I tell you how much money this is going to make in the future, or what's approximately a figure that you can tell us?
I think like the way we always discuss, like first year, like for example, next year revenue will be almost nothing because we will be in pilots and we will start and see pricing strategy is very important, and we're still on it. We're still understanding how it's better, but it definitely will be a data company. Data is our main revenue stream. And what is important to understand that this data, what we are aiming at, and in general, the nature of this data, that it goes to the whole supply, through the whole value chain, from the production to the final sales, and to even after to collection, sorting, and recycling. Because the chemical part is a very important part of what we're doing, which is why we had such a problems with hardware and all waiting semiconductors and in general, that process. So if to think on 2024, we will start growing, and 2025, we think around 15-20 million we can easily reach there. Another story that people tell us that we are very shy with our numbers, because I mean, people from the industry, from the fashion industry, because they say it's like crazy how much is this technology needed. And if we show a really good results in 2023 on how you can use it, because it's important, the cases, the KPIs and cases. From that, we can tell you a very clear number what will be in 2025 and what will be in 2027. I think the best year should be 2027, when we will almost cover the whole value chain with all our ambitions. And we have ambitions to enter in the sorting and recycling, because in 2025, there will be another regulation from the European Union, that textiles have to be sorted, as we do with the plastic, as we do with the bottles and paper. But there are no technology really robust and good to do that. And we are focused on that. So basically, taking all the factors and all the interest from the industry that we are getting, and all the regulation that is coming, and the favor that hardware is playing on our side now, because this technology is getting cheaper and cheaper. I would say, when we started in 2021 and we were checking technology, we thought our sensor would be around like 30,000, 40,000. But then in this sensor come up, which was just a test. We were one of the few companies whom it's a large company who developed the sensor, this technology in general, who we were lucky. They chose us, they selected us as a very interesting project, and they wanted us to try the sensor to see how far it can go. So we were lucky when it was not on the market. We were the first one in Europe to receive this technology, and that was super exciting. That's maybe one of the things why we continued, because to receive such a technology and to stop is quite ridiculous, you know. You want to see, you want to check this potential, and the most important, it dropped the price of our sensor to 10,000 to 12,000. Imagine such a big. So it added more into scalability, and for sure this type of technology will get cheaper and cheaper each year. So we think it's a super scalable what we're doing, and basically with these numbers should be bigger, but I just always try to stay realistic and always try to not to be so happy, better to be pessimistic a bit.
Okay, so thank you very much, Sana, and good luck with those with that hard work you're doing.
Thank you for your interview. It was a pleasure to talk to you.